The biggest thing right now is just this landscape is evolving incredibly quickly. The technology, as AI is exploding, the technology associated with deepfakes is also maturing very, very quickly. It's definitely something that organizations should be incredibly concerned about.
A friendly voice, a well placed lie, or just the right amount of persuasion. Social engineering has been a core tactic that threat actors have used for many years. But now, with the introduction of deepfake technology and just the sheer amount of social engineering that's going on, it's time to bring this topic to the forefront once again. Welcome to the Talos Threat Perspective. I'm Hazel Burton. On today's show, I'm joined by Talos' Nick Biasini, who will talk about three key areas where social engineering is particularly rife. Every day, IT help desk workers keep businesses running. Forgotten passwords, locked accounts, software glitches, their work is critical. But social engineering attacks against employees who work in this space is on the rise. So, what is happening?
So there's kind of a couple of ways that they can try and leverage the help desk. They can either pretend to be the help desk and go after a user to potentially get them to do something, or they can actually contact the help desk pretending to be a user. That's an easy way for them to do things like password resets and things of that nature. Often they're going to use sob stories or something that's going to make you feel sorry for them, like a bad situation that happened them to leave them in this situation. They're likely aware of the types of questions that you're going to ask because they likely have probed beforehand. So they'll have answers in hand ready. So if you ask them, why aren't you using your corporate device? They already have a story prepared about how they lost their corporate device. Some awful thing has happened to them and now they're stuck in this situation where they really need someone to help them. That's what we see more than often. Occasionally we see aggressive approaches, which is where they're very aggressive towards the help desk using kind of fear as a mechanism to try and force them to do something. But more often than not, it's trying to pull on the heartstrings, a sob story, something that'll help you do what they want you to do.
Yeah, this is really one of the key issues, and it's not just for people who work in the IT help desk. The great Wendy Nather once talked about how she worked in an organization where the people who attended cybersecurity awareness training were actually more likely to click on malicious links. The theory being that these people really wanted to help the security team and were more than happy to respond to emails asking them to test the strength of their passwords.
Two things are always going to be true in human nature. We're always going to be curious and we're always going to want to help. And both of those things are used against you in social engineering attacks.
When you think of an insider threat, you might think of a disgruntled worker out for revenge, stealing data, or planting malware. And yet the truth is potentially even more disturbing. Most insider attacks don't come from malicious employees, they come from ordinary people, tricked, pressured, or manipulated into opening the door for the real criminals.
Most of the time, it's just, again, someone trying to help someone out. And they end up doing something that they really don't intend to be harmful, but they get a ping from someone who's supposed to be a director, a CEO, their boss, asking them to do something. And they're just like, okay, I'm trying to help out. I'm doing the right thing. I don't want to get in trouble. And then they end up helping and a compromise that results in really big damage for the company.
As with the IT help desk example, insider threat is tough because we're talking about people being manipulated to give away access. Now, one of the key ways to minimize the impact of these threats is to build in certain processes. So, for example, one of those could be limiting the amount that any specific user has to the minimum required to actually do their job. But how does an attack like this actually get that far? What are the steps that attackers are taking?
It tends to be more of a personal communication. They may start using email or using SMS or sending a mobile message on some mobile messaging platform, but they're going to try and get you on the phone that or get you on video because that's where they know they can win. When you have someone on the phone, you're much more likely to be able to pivot, evolve, come up with a story. These people are very good with what they do, so they really want to get you on the phone because if they feel like they can get you on the phone, they've already won. It's just a matter of time till they get you to do what they want you to do.
The third area that we're going to focus on is the use of deep fake technology. And this is where the line between reality and deception is really getting blurred.
The technology is real. It's something that organizations definitely need to plan for. That's where things like secure phrases or secure objects are becoming more and more important. Having that thing, that phrase that you can ask someone when they say, "Hey, I need you to wire $50,000 to this bank," you can say, "Okay, what's the secure phrase that we use to validate these?" This is the stuff that will break up these types of attacks. Or if you're on video, what's the object that you show me every time before we do these types of things? Those types of things can really, really help you. Think of it as MFA, but for video and audio. That's basically what you're doing, is having an additional factor of authentication. The exact same concept, but we're just having to take it to where the adversaries are going, which unfortunately is audio and video. And now is the time that you need to build those policies, build those capabilities into your organization before it becomes widespread. The worst thing you want to do is be after you've already been hit and had a wire transfer or various other bad things happen to then build your policy. Do it now. It's better to do it in advance.
It's easy to feel overwhelmed, even powerless, in a world where deception is becoming increasingly sophisticated. Social engineering preys on our empathy and our willingness to help, and most people find it hard to alter that mindset because it's so built into who we are. But it's also true that awareness is your first line of defense. And as always, if something just doesn't feel right, always follow your instincts and verify. That is all for this episode of the Talos Threat Perspective. Thank you so much for watching. Do subscribe to the Talos YouTube channel to be among the first to know when new videos drop. And for all the latest news and threat research, head to blog.talosintelligence.com.